So this is a subject that has come up in the news quite a lot. George Monbiot has talked about it in The Guardian. But a lot of people, when they think about rewilding, they might sort of consider, the idea of bringing back wolves or lynx, these sort of really big carnivores back into the UK. And, that kind of has that place, and some scientists are talking about it. But actually, you can have rewilding projects on a much smaller scale, such as we're going to talk about here, and they make a really, really big difference to biodiversity in the local area.
So here at Burbage, we're in the early stages of rewilding, lots of early stages of rewilding particularly needs human intervention. We've removed the things we like to eat, such as wild boar, potentially, out of the landscape, and we've removed things that have been in competition with us, such as, in the Peak District, we've taught, there's lots of grouse shooting, we've removed the hen harriers. So this early stage, which is labour intensive naturally, to manage and to bring small oaks like this to large giant oaks in hundreds of years' time, needs volunteers. So that's both of us in.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. So we're just walking along. We're still at Burbage, and so basically we wanted to talk about the biodiversity crisis. And this is something that's happening in the UK as well as globally.
Yeah, biodiversity collapse is something that we need to look at, because the big picture is obviously on climate change, but if we're looking at potential when we lose the pollinators, when we lose crops, etc., with food prices going up, a lot of that short-termism in the population will take over, and climate change will take secondary stage to populism, and that we've seen rise in Europe that would be on steroids if this happened.
The biodiverse habitats are a lot more resilient to the pressures of climate change, and that's something that we don't really take into account when we're looking at ways that we can address climate change. Biodiversity and enhancing our habitats is a really important approach to climate change as well. So even at the Peak District, it's not a natural landscape. It's basically an agricultural landscape.
Every landscape in Britain and almost the world is a man-made landscape.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and particularly in the Peak Districts as well. It's not even a very good agricultural landscape, is it? I mean, we see kind of sheep and so on, but the farmers aren't making that much money from it. They rely on subsidies from central government, and we kind of have to think: is this money being well spent? Are there other ways that we can use this landscape, kind of move to a we could consult on a nature-based economy? Could we attract more visitors to the Peak District because of the biodiversity?
They say because with greater biodiversity, there's more money from people who want to come in if it's managed correctly into the area, which then means there's more money going into saving our ecosystems, such as here in the Peak District.
Yeah. So I can understand that this is a landscape that people kind of come to because they know what they're going to get. You have these beautiful moorlands and so on, and that's fine. We do there is a place for that, but they're not being well protected, and also they are degrading.
If carbon is locked up in peat bogs, and peatland, for instance, here in the Peak District, then we are actually making real measured efforts to slow down climate change.
Yeah, it's an easy win, isn't it?
It is a very easy win.
Kind of the protection and the restoration of the peatlands. It is an easy win, and so it's something that we should be redirecting our money at. These principles. In the Peak District, we could have wide expanses of rewilding projects that were all kind of interconnected. But you were mentioning how we could, on a smaller scale, we could do stuff in the inner city as well.
Yeah, because the part of with the inner city, so for instance, Sheffield, just over here, we've got to look at any part of any regeneration project that we're actually trying to do our bit to make sure that we've got ecosystems in place within the cities, by planting trees, by putting natural habitats in, by having bumblebee meadows,
Yeah.
that sort of just those sort of things to make sure that we keep a diverse landscape. And though the whole landscape in Britain is man-made, is to make sure that it is a diverse ecosystem that is helping in its own small way, not just with global warming, but with biodiversity.
The UK kind of habitats, they're the most well understood out of the whole of the planet, because we have so many ecologists at universities in this country, so we have this incredible capacity to kind of draw on that expertise to do all this stuff.
We've got to look after our own wildlife, plant life, before we start lecturing other countries about their loss of their ecosystems, because we're not so great ourselves.